Jonathan Smith has officially signed to the Michigan State Spartans. I never thought I would see the day Jonathan Smith leaves his alma mater at Oregon State. But why am I surprised? He was kind of forced to leave because Oregon State might not even be in a conference next year. Jonathan Smith may have made the right decision getting out of Oregon State because of the situation the team is in with all the conference realignment stuff. Jonathan Smith made a tough choice, but it might be the right choice. But there's more going on in the college football carousel, so I got an exciting video coming for you guys. But before I start the video, here's a reminder to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And also turn on notifications for more daily uploads like this one. But without further ado, let's talk about the coaching carousel and also look at some other news and rumors. Now to start, I wanted to continue on what I was talking about with Jonathan Smith. And this is a huge pickup for Michigan State. Michigan State has been down the last couple years, and if they want someone to rebuild them from the ground up, Jonathan Smith may be the perfect guy for Michigan State. Oregon State was a team that would consistently win no more than 4 games a year, and they also had a 1-win season a few years back. But Jonathan Smith came along and built up that program when there seemed like there was no hope for Oregon State. Michigan State isn't going to be an easy job for him heading into a tough Big Ten conference with a team that needs to be rebuilded. And Michigan State is also a team that has had their hopes down recently, and the whole Mel Tucker situation led to him being fired. But I do think this is the start of something big for the Michigan State Spartans. But let's get on to our other big topic of the day, which is Mississippi State signing Oklahoma's offensive coordinator. How about that? Jeff Lebby, who was Oklahoma, UCF, and Ole Miss's offensive coordinator, will now be Mississippi State's head coach. I don't know how this will turn out for Mississippi State. Is this the guy that can take them from average to great? I don't know. And it's not going to be easy moving into the SEC, a conference with Texas and Oklahoma joining next year. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is huge for Mississippi State, but it's a good opportunity for the former offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby. But this will be his first head coaching spot in his career. You also have interim coach David Braun, who was hired as the defensive coordinator for Northwestern, who will now be the head coach. They named him the new head coach 4 days after Fitzgerald got fired in the wake of hazing allegations against the program. This is a huge change for Northwestern, after they've seemed to have somewhat of a turnaround and will make a bowl game in 2023. And now their coach of 17 seasons is gone. Yes, you heard that right. Fitzgerald has been coaching at Northwestern for 17 seasons, ultimately with 110 victories and 101 losses. But this is a great chance for the former defensive coordinator David Braun to step up and continue the rebuild on this Northwestern team that has seen no light for the future in a long time. What about this though? Iowa fires their offensive coordinator. It's gotta be a miracle Iowa now has the chance to be the best team in college football. I'm joking, don't take that too serious. But you never know. I guess this is good news for Iowa fans, and maybe you'll find an offensive coordinator that can help this offense score more than 20 points. But Brian Ferentz will not return to Iowa football in 2024. So that's some pretty big news for the Iowa offense that needs a lot of help moving forward. Nah, they need more than a lot of help. They need a miracle. That Iowa offense has been miserable for years now. Some of these coaching changes happened weeks ago, but it was announced that the defensive coordinator Alex Grinch was fired. And nothing really has changed on the USC defense yet, but just like Iowa, it won't be easy to build that side of the ball because of how atrocious it has been. But Lincoln Riley did announce he was staying at USC, so maybe, and just maybe, he'll finally consider working on that awful defense and bring in a good defensive coordinator and get some good defensive recruits. Because it's going to be a long season in 2024 moving into the Big Ten if they can't figure it out. Because let's be real, Caleb Williams carried USC in 2023, and you won't have him next year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with USC and their situation moving forward. Another offense that has struggled also fired their offensive coordinator. Mike Yurcich for Penn State has been fired. Now correct me if I'm wrong, some of these names I don't know if I'm pronouncing right, but hopefully Penn State can come out of Michigan and Ohio State's shadow, but it's not going to get easier with all the teams joining the Big Ten in 2024. And also Boise State actually fired their head coach Andy Avalos, after starting 5-5 and being in danger of Boise State's first losing record since 1997. Wait, has it actually been that long? That's crazy. Give props to Boise State for being consistently good for a long time. And if you all didn't know, Boise State actually did finish 7-5 this year, and are playing for the Mountain West Championship game. So that's pretty good news for Boise State, as it was looking like there's a chance they would have their first losing record since 1997. That is crazy. That's really a long time. I did not know that. But as of now, the interim coach for Boise State is defensive coordinator Spencer Danielson. Now, there's been a lot of big coaching changes, and I'm not going to be able to fully cover all of them, but but I am trying to cover the ones that matter the most. And before I get into the big one of the video that everybody has been wondering about with the whole Texas A&M situation, let's talk about some of the other minor coaching changes. Then I'll also get into some of the big players who might be hitting the transfer portal and some of the player news. But let's continue on with this. San Diego State head coach is also set to retire after a bad season. And New Mexico's head coach also got fired. Maybe they consider picking up your in-state rival's head coach because that team just somehow beat Auburn a couple weeks ago. New Mexico State is doing a good job. Dana DiMio, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he was fired from UTEP. Nothing surprising, just bad programs going through tough times. Hoping they'll become good one day. Don't give up on your team, guys. Also, Syracuse head coach Dino Babers got fired. Not gonna lie, I was on the hype train of Syracuse at the start of the year after they started 4-0. I watched film on them and I thought they had a solid offense. And I was expecting maybe an 8-win season from them. But they really fell off and met their expectations as the mid-program they are. Sorry if I'm talking bad about any of your guys' teams. I'm just speaking my thoughts. At the end of the day, it is just football. And who knows, maybe your team will win the Natty one day. And with Jonathan Smith being fired, Oregon State's going to need a new head coach, and it's unfortunate they lost a special coach like Jonathan Smith. And I hope this Oregon State team doesn't go back to being bad again, but we'll see. Duke's head coach Mike Elko has also left. And then you have Houston and Indiana's coaches leaving. So nothing surprising with a lot of these teams. But let's get on to some other fun stuff. And to start, this is probably something a lot of people already know about, but Cam Rising will be coming back to Utah next year. And that is very good news for Utah as they will be headed into the Big 12, possibly as favorites to win that conference. And if you don't know how good this is for Utah heading into the Big 12, just go back and look what Utah accomplished. With Cam Rising winning back-to-back Pac-12 championships and completely owning USC like Aaron Rodgers owns the Chicago Bears. But also you have the third-string quarterback Nate Johnson leaving for the transfer portal with 3 years of eligibility left. You also have other quarterbacks that people are a lot more familiar with joining the transfer portal, like Tyler Shaw for Texas Tech and Max Johnson for Texas A&M. And I will say, I think Max Johnson has the potential to be a quarterback close to that great tier. But we'll see what happens with some of the transfer portal news. This is only the beginning of all the chaos. And you also had Colorado lose the number 3 quarterback recruit in the class of 2025. So Colorado recruiting has been taking a bust lately. So that's another question people may have. Is Deion Sanders gonna leave Colorado? If not this year, then maybe the next couple years. So it will be interesting to see what happens with them. But I don't think I'm missing any other big news other than the huge headline of the video, and it's about the Texas A&M coaching job. And it has been announced that the new head coach for the Texas A&M Aggies after the Jimbo Fisher departure will actually be Duke's Mike Elko. According to ESPN, they reached the agreement on Sunday. So it's a very interesting story. Mike Elko was actually a defensive coordinator at Texas A&M a few years back. Then he left for Duke. Mike Elko actually was a part of one of Texas A&M's most recent good seasons in 2020, where they actually went 9-1, including an Orange Bowl victory. Not gonna lie, I completely forgot that Texas A&M was relevant at all the last couple years. Texas A&M has had so many top recruiting classes loaded with talent, but it's the coaching that has to be a problem. Because what else could it be? Texas A&M should be a potential national title contender, but they don't get close to meeting expectations ever. And it really must be disappointing for the fans to tune in every year and hope this Texas A&M team has some spark of light and possibly even has a 10-win season. But maybe this is a spark of light that your former defensive coordinator is returning. After leaving Texas A&M, the team actually has been 12-12 since he left. So honestly, maybe Mike Elko is the right man for the Texas A&M head coaching job. It's going to be a huge role to fill. Mike Elko has done a pretty decent job at Duke, leading them to a 9-4 season in his first season there. And he led them to a 9-4 season the year after the team was 3-9, and Duke has never been relevant in football as they are known for being a basketball school. And this year, Duke may only be 7-5, but they also lost a huge piece to that team with their star quarterback Riley Leonard getting hurt after starting 6-2. It's been a tough second half of the year for Duke. Ever since joining the SEC, Texas A&M has struggled to be relevant. And they have to be one of the most annoying teams to be a fan of, because this team is always ranked to start the year, but they somehow always find a way to become ranked outside the top 25 by the end of the year, or even halfway through the season, or even a couple weeks through the season. So this may be the last resort for Texas A&M. Can Mike Elko do a good job at Texas A&M and possibly lead them to an SEC title in the next 3 to 5 years, or even as soon as next year? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a fun one, and I haven't done one like this yet. But if you want more of these types of videos, be sure to like the video and also subscribe to the channel because I enjoy any support I get. But also don't forget to hit that bell and turn on notifications for daily uploads like this one. I do have my conference championship week picks and predictions video coming out later, so don't forget to tune in for that one. But that's going to do it, and peace out, guys.